my channel. For those who are new, I am a first-year family medicine resident here in Canada. Right now, it's the end of October, which means that I have been in residency for almost 4 months. In this video, I want to tell you guys what it was like to start residency in the middle of the pandemic and how the first few months of residency went for me in this unprecedented time. And to do that, we gotta take a trip down the memory lane. In March 3rd, 2020, I found out that I matched into family medicine in this city that is 2 hours away from my hometown. And a mere 10 days later, on March 13th, my entire city, in fact, most of the country at that time, went under lockdown. Little did I know, this pandemic was about to change the way we do medicine. And for better or worse, it was about to flip my entire residency experience upside down. Fasting forward to June, I moved to this new city with my boyfriend. Up until then, I have been living with my parents my entire life. I have never moved out, and in June, I was moving away to this new city in a new province. Residency started July 1st, and everything was virtual. From meeting my co-residents online to having virtual orientations, online academic days, I even started my residency with a 1-month telemedicine rotation, where I would basically make phone calls at home. I was away from all of my friends and families, and given the social isolation that comes with the pandemic, I couldn't really visit them as much as I wished. I also didn't really have any meaningful conversations with my co-residents, my preceptors, or even my patients. Everything was done through either a screen or a microphone. Needless to say, I have never felt that lonely in my life. It was a really difficult time. I always considered myself to be an introverted person. I didn't have a ton of social activities going on before the pandemic, but to be totally isolated and having the only human contact to be my boyfriend was really difficult. For more than ever before, I strived for social interactions. I craved contact with other humans. And don't get me wrong, it was wonderful to have my boyfriend by my side. And I don't know how I would have done this without such a wonderful partner. But more than ever before, I think I realized what it meant when people say that humans are social creatures. At that point, I was counting down the days until I can be in the hospital again, until I can see real patients, have real interactions with my co-residents, preceptors, with other healthcare professionals. And believe it or not, starting to see patients in person, running into my co-residents in person and eating together in the resident lounge, that was the game changer for me. That was the thing that really pulled me out of this rut that I was in since I moved away from my families. And as a side note, by July, I would have been away from clinical settings for over 6 months. My last clinical rotation ended in January 2020. Not only there was a question of getting back to the hospital routine, there was also a lot of uncertainty and fear surrounding this whole coronavirus and what it means to go back to the hospital. So between March, when we went under lockdown, and July, the coronavirus count escalated to numbers that are just unimaginable a few months back. There was a lot of news coverage about patients dying, doctors dying, nurses dying, and all the other healthcare professionals who are working in hospitals, nursing homes, long-term cares that are all succumbing to this illness. And now, after 6 months away from any clinical duties, and I'm about to embark on this journey called residency that is known to be tough and difficult no matter where you are, in a new city, a new province where I know nobody, in the middle of this pandemic that has now killed more than 1 million people. It was scary times, but I did it. In fact, we did it. All my colleagues in Ottawa are doing it. All my colleagues across Canada, all the other healthcare professionals, doctors, nurses, we're all doing it, and there is no way out but together. So let me tell you a little bit about some of the biggest changes that's taken place in the hospital. So first of all, this is how I look these days. The minimum would be scrubs, goggles, mask, and if you're going to see a patient in isolation, then you would, on top of everything, put a gown, a visor, and gloves. So you learn to smile behind the masks these days. There are also signs everywhere in the hospital that warns us to stay social distanced for at least 2 meters. They moved all the scrubs away from the changing rooms to this dedicated area where you would go pick up your scrubs and then return the scrubs back to that place. And at my hospital, have this screening questionnaire where you would answer before coming in, confirming that you have no symptoms, no waiting test results, no recent unprotected contacts with COVID patients. Employees now go through a different entrance where you would show that you're clear to come to work with the questionnaire. Once you go in, you sanitize your hands, and then you're given a mask that you can wear for the day. We usually change our masks every 4 hours. And sometimes people slack off a little bit with all these things that you have to wear, distance that you have to keep. But now, at the time that I'm making this video, we're in the middle of the second wave, and people are being a lot more cautious, even more cautious than the first wave, and these rules are really to be respected. On the other hand, I did do some cool stuff in the context of the pandemic. I worked one day at this COVID clinic in Ottawa, where it's basically a clinic for fast COVID tests, but we also did rapid assessments to see if people needed to go to the hospital. So I just arrived at the COVID clinic. It's actually an old school that got turned into this clinic during the peak of the COVID pandemic. We were hoping to diverge patients from the emergency. So overall, 4 months into residency now, I do feel a lot better adjusted to this whole new era of virtual medicine. I'm getting to know my co-residents a lot better, and I'm just starting to get to know my home hospital inside out because I've just spent so many nights there so far. But to be honest, the only thing that really matters for anything is the fact that I'm away from home, away from my friends and families. It's really hard. I've said it so many times, and it's just nearly impossible to make new friends when everyone around you is social isolating. I think this is the first time in my life where I'm consciously realizing that I'm having trouble making friends. But there are positive things that comes with it. I think since I moved in June, I've matured so much as a person. I moved out of my parents' house for the first time. I really started living on my own and having my own space and life, and learning what's important to me, what's valuable, and really just being appreciative of the things and people that I already have in my life. My boyfriend, my parents, my family-in-law, and all my friends back in Montreal who, even though are not physically here with me, but are always there to listen to me rant and support me. For that, I'm really grateful and lucky. For a lot of people, this pandemic is literally ruining their lives. For as much as it's affecting my personal life, like I've explained in this video, it also feels like so little has changed, in the sense that I'm still living a very comfortable life. I'm getting paid, and my life is moving forward towards my future goal and objectives. A lot of people didn't have this even before the pandemic, let alone after the pandemic and its devastating results. For as much as I complain about how difficult life is for me, I do realize that I'm privileged to be able to social isolate in a comfortable home, and most importantly, to be able to practice medicine and to receive my family medicine training in a safe way, even amidst this pandemic. So here you go. That's my experience in a nutshell for the past 4 months as a first-year family medicine resident. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like this. And don't forget to like, comment, and share. I really appreciate it.